Hello, global teachers. Oh, this verse about giving thanks to the Lord. How wonderful is this? 1 Corinthians 16:34 simply says, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever." Just reminding us that we have so much to be thankful for, but mostly that his love is steadfast. It stays with us and it endures forever. It remains through all of the low parts of our lives and the high parts of our lives. So I'm just encouraging you today to just be so thankful to the Lord. Hi, global teachers. So we are continuing with number talks or simply math resources that you can use in your classroom. So at our globalteacherhub.com, we're going to go to math resources. So we have been working a while on number talks. So if you're just starting with this, we have one video that just explains what number talks are. This whole section was the first thing you would do in a number talk on just really making sure your students know how to do counting, understanding higher numbers. Then we did 3 videos on the 5 frame and the 10 frame. And I've heard from several of you that you are using this in your classroom. I really think it helps the students understand numbers better and relationships so that when you move into procedures like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, they just have a much better understanding of how numbers work. And so now we're going to do a couple of videos over this one and the next one on a hundreds chart. Even if you use a hundreds chart, I think there'll be new ideas in here on ways to use it. I worked with a teacher who helped me with the hundreds chart and gave me lots of ideas that I really hadn't thought of. So I think there'll be things in this video that you're going to find interesting. So we're doing video number 7, and this will be the link to this video. And then this will be the link to the website I'm getting ready to show you. And this is the website. So if you have a projector, this is a great thing, a site to use in your classroom. If you don't have a projector, you're still going to want to watch this because you would do these exact same activities with a printout of a hundreds chart that you would either use under a document camera or you would give a copy to every student. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. It'll be a really short video because most of it will be today. So I'm first going to go over these tools at the bottom that you would use. This is just to clear the entire and start over. You can see when I hover over it. This one will remove the grid lines. So if you don't want the grid lines for some reason, this one, you can change it to a 120 chart, which that's the one we use a lot. So you can make it a 120 chart if you want. And then you can even make a custom one. So if you have little children, if you're working with first grade, you might just want to do one up to 20, and that's all you want. So you could do a custom one. I think I'll change mine back to 100 for now and just make it easier for us to see. This is just pulls up a calculator. So if you're wanting to do a calculator in front of the students, you can do that. This is a text, and I'm going to show you later how to use this text. This would be a writing tool. If you want to draw circles and point to things, you could do that. This clears everything off and deletes everything off of here. And these I'm not going to go over this. So now we're going over to here, and this is just a stamp tool. So I don't usually click on it because when you do these, that one automatically starts. So here's our first one. And these are the things that we can stamp onto here, and they're really self-explanatory. This one is a blank, well, it says solid square, covers it. This one allows you to see the number through it. This one just doesn't highlight the color. It just puts a square around it. You could put pretty shapes around it, and you can change the colors. This one is really nice. It allows you to not have to stamp them, but like if you wanted to count by twos, it would do it for you. Okay, so let's work with these first two to begin with. So if I had this in front of my students and we were going to do a number talk, obviously the first thing we might do is just count. Oh, I will show you. I skipped this one. This is what this button right here is. So if you are going back and just reviewing counting with your students, this is a choral counting button. So you can start with 1 right here and count across, or you can count down. There's different things counting. So if you want to count backwards, teach them that. So let's just do this one. Counting by 1, going across. We'll click play. And I'm not touching anything. It is just playing this on its own. So the students would count along with this as it goes through. And then pause. This button. Oh, this is if you want. So I am clicking now. 8, click. 9, click. So this one will automatically play it. This one will do it for you. So first thing with a hundreds chart is simply counting. And we would use this button down here to do choral counting. But once you're moving along and you want to do other things, this covers. So if I wanted to cover this number right here, and in my number talk, what is behind the red square? How do you know what's behind the red square? And you might even want to do several of them to see if they know. But now, one thing that I might do for an assignment on here is I might put a red one on here and a blue one on here. Oh, come on. I have to touch that, sorry. And a green one on here. And then you could write on your board what number is under the red, what number is under the blue, what number is under the green, or numbers. If you wanted to do several green ones, several blue ones, so have it up shining on your board when the students come in first thing in the morning. This could, and they sit at their desk. This is their first assignment. They just know to sit down and do this. Or at the beginning of math class, whatever. But you could go here to the text. And in red, I'm going to put the word box. I don't really know if that's what would be the correct way to do it. I'm going to turn that red if I can. Yeah. And I'm going to put it here. And this text makes it bigger. And this will stretch however you want it to do. And then I could write another one over here that says what's behind the blue, or maybe if you want to make this smaller, like a blue one here and a green one here, and this would be on the board. When they come in, they're ready to do the work and get started on it, like prepare this that morning. So that is one way that you could use this, okay? So I'm going to start over. And this time I'm going to go back to red. I kind of like the red. This is if you want to do transparent. So I would talk to the students about counting by twos. We're going to skip 1 and we're going to select this. Skip 1, select this. Skip 1, select. And as a class, we would talk about this, what we're doing. Skip this one, select, skip, select. And so for the first few number talks, we would just simply count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on. But eventually, as you're getting these done, one of your number talks is going to sound like this. I'm going to say, what do you notice when we count by 2 on this number chart? Well, they're going to notice that the 2s are all in a column. that it's every other number and they're in a column? Yes. So we have this column. What do you notice about this column? And obviously we would have red all the way down. Hopefully they would say there is a 2 at the beginning of the number. That's when you might correct them and say, well, what do we call that beginning place value? Yes, it is the tens place, or the ones place, I'm sorry. It is the ones place. What do you notice? They all have a 2. These all have a 4. These all have a 6, an 8, and a 0. So when we count by twos, the ones place is either going to be a 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. This one can never be counting by twos because there is a 7 in the ones place. And what do we have to have in the ones place? 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. So that would be, this chart really helps students understand that by twos, how to count by twos. You could do the same thing if you were doing, let me clear this off of here. If you were doing fives, because they're going to notice they all have a 5 or they have a 0. This is the beginning of multiplication by twos and multiplication by fives. We know that. And then we could also do tens. Okay, those are the only ones they work on. They don't work with threes because they don't fall in the columns because our number system is a base 10 system. So, but for those three, it does work. Now you can still do multiplication, showing them that it's, I thought this would do it, that it's, if you're doing threes later on, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it's still your multiplication. And so they can see it. It just doesn't fall in a pattern anymore as far as in a line. It will be a pattern, but just not in a line. Okay? All right, so let's clear this off. This one right here. So if you want to fill it out without doing it in front of them, you want to stamp every 2, and you want to start with number 2. So we're going to start with number 2, and it's going to stamp every other one, and it will just do it for us. So those are our by 2s. So if you wanted to do the by 3s, you could do that. That's what this one does. Puts them in automatically. Let's start over. This one is if you want to, rather than cover it, if you just want to take away some numbers. And as a class, see if you can fill in what numbers are there. So this one would take certain numbers away. So I'm going to show you a way that one of the new things that I kind of learned when I was studying about hundreds charts and things to do. My daughter writes curriculum for one of the #1 math curriculums in the United States. And so she shares this information with me. And so it's like I knew these things, but I really hadn't thought of using a hundreds chart. And I hadn't really thought about how important these particular skills are for kids. So enjoy. I always enjoy hearing from you by texting me directly on WhatsApp. You can't do it through the one I send you, but WhatsApp me direct. I love hearing from you all of how you're using it, successes you're having, problems you're having, because or a way that you used it that somebody else didn't. That's what I share with everyone. What I hear from you, if it's a need you have, I'm assuming somebody else has this need. If it's a success, I like to share ways that you are using it. So have fun, teachers, and just keep remembering that I'm always praying for you. You've got such an important job.